I want to take the time and kind of explain a little bit of what it is exactly that NoTube is and what we're doing and why we're doing it. So there's millions of kids being born every year, and most of them leave the hospital within several days. And as you probably know and have experienced with your child, up to 10% of all children don't get to leave the hospital right away. So they have to undergo complex medical treatments, they have sometimes multiple diagnoses, and in order to survive, they receive a feeding tube. And that feeding tube is crucial, and it's only thanks to modern day medicine that they ever receive that tube and are able to survive the first couple of weeks after birth. And while this medical intervention is great in the beginning and helps each of these children develop to a point where it can leave the hospital, many times what is forgotten is that the feeding tube stays with the child. So when the child leaves the hospital, it's with the feeding tube, and over time it becomes dependent on it. And that's really where we get to work. So what we then do is help these children who've become dependent on the feeding tube get rid of it, because there's significant side effects, oftentimes associated with the feeding tube. So you might not have understood that it's actually because of the feeding tube, but it might just as well be. For example, if your child is experiencing significant retching, gagging, reflux, or side effects just such as developmental delays, then these things are all based or often correlated with the tube. Also, you as a family might be suffering. When was the last time you really had a nice night out with your family sitting around the dinner table and just being able to be in a normal restaurant just like everybody else? It's embarrassing with a feeding tube, and many times if you want to have your child participate in normal kindergarten, it's not possible because the nannies there won't take care of your child's feeding issues. And so what we really strive for is for you as a family to regain this independence from the feeding tube, at the same time just a normal family life. And that's what we strive for, and that's what all of our programs are really dedicated to.